Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumo, and it's great to be on the show where we discuss all things books. I was just reading from my phone. The legendary engineer administrator C.S.O. Akonde, 20 years ago, passed away. 20 years. For any student of history, it almost seems as if that was just a few years ago. But 20 years ago already, Sunday Olutunde Akonde passed on 2005. Now, the story here is that 20 years after, his biography has been written. I'm a big fan of biographies and autobiographies. I'm a big fan of stories being preserved for generations and generations after. We need to do a lot more of that in Nigeria. We're not doing enough of it. So this is heartwarming. This is encouraging. We were there at the launch of the biography. Enjoy this.
If you would not be forgotten as soon as you are dead, either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. That's a quote from one of the founding fathers of the United States, Benjamin Franklin. It's one that comes to mind as the children of the late Christopher Sunday Lukayode Akonde, popularly known as C.S.O. Akonde, launched a biography in his honor 20 years after his passing.
When my brother Wale informed us, that's his siblings, towards the end of 2023, about the idea of writing our late father's biography, we all agreed it was a noble and necessary project. However, we were completely taken aback when he added that the book should be printed and launched on the 20th anniversary of our father's passing. Well, we forged ahead, and through his driving force and the background providing continuous morale and the main financial force behind getting the book started and done, I should then specifically recognize my baby sister, Kemi, who after work spent many countless late nights going back and forth with me as we sifted through material seeking meaning and structure in the mountain of content before us. Our elder sister, Yabo, also stepped in during the final stretch, especially when we got stuck and needed clarity on certain aspects of her father's life, and helping to rewrite certain sections of the book. Certainly, the production of the book was a collective effort of the C.S.O. Akonde family.
The biography captures the years of service of C.S.O. Akonde as secretary to the military government and head of service in the Old Western State, while weaving in chapters of Nigeria's history.
The family did a wonderful job. The language was clear. The introduction into this biography does a very good job of preparing the reader to visualize the person, the character, and the impeccable nature of Chief C.S.O. Akonde. Essentially, therefore, what follows in the different chapters, we've got 10 chapters in this book. What follows are the enthralling details of a mixture of value-laden type of upbringing, experiences, and the challenges that forged Chief C.S.O. Akonde into the quintessential administrator, a technocrat, a gentleman, and father that he personified.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his remarks, calls his encounters with C.S.O. Akonde and describes him as a man of principle, yet full of kindness.
When I said that character matters, not only character, value. And I wish we have them this day with such strong character, with such value, with such integrity, with such principle, with such commitment.
May I respectfully invite General David General.
The former president later unveils the book.
He, in the generation of our parents, he was certainly somebody with strong integrity. His character was impeccable. And as somebody that went to government college, they were the people that we looked on that became sort of the standard of who we wanted to be.
A disciplined man, a man who gave the best to his country, a good family man, and a very kind man. He was kind to us, the people who were not his children, but we were his children's friends. He was like an uncle. And as they said, we're more or less family since we all kind of grew up together.
I think it's very important for everyone, our children, our children's children, to know about us and where we've come from, and also our past, our parents, our grandfathers, so as to form a continual history about what went on during when we were alive and what we did to contribute to the world. I think every Nigerian should write a book about themselves and about their parents so that we can have a collective history.
An Engineered Life is more than a family tribute. It is a reminder that CSO Akande lived a life of service, vision, and integrity. 2 decades on, his legacy continues to inspire, ensuring that his story and values remain unforgettable.
For all the biographers out there, more of that. We need more of that. A lot more of that. We need to tell our stories. We need to preserve our stories. Well, up next is a report on a creative writing bootcamp. Now, this is one that we have in the last few years attended and we've always reported about because we are convinced that it is important for creative writing skills to be developed amongst young people. Enjoy this report.
The annual Maritime Rights Project Creative Writing Bootcamp is back for its 5th edition, continuing its mission to advance maritime literacy across Nigeria. This free program has successfully trained over 200 participants, building a growing community of maritime storytellers and advocates. The theme of this year's edition, which holds at Naval Dockyard, Victoria Island, Lagos, is Blue Odyssey, Securing Nigeria's EEZ, Ports and Blue Economy, Stories of Sea Guardians, Trade Routes and Coastal Adventures.
Nigeria's exclusive economic zone, its vibrant ports, and the vast promise of our blue economy are more than statistics. They are living narrative of opportunities, resilience, and responsibility. By telling these stories creatively, the writers will become sea guardians in their own right. They will give voice to our coastal communities, illuminate the unseen work of maritime security, and paint vivid picture of the interconnectedness between trade, culture, and environmental sustainability. Through their pens, Nigeria maritime space will not just be a subject of policy, but a shared heritage we all feel compelled to protect.
In his address, the host of this year's edition, Admiral Superintendent of the Naval Dockyard Limited, Rear Admiral Ibrahim Shehu, highlights the importance of the bootcamp to the maritime sector and the Nigerian economy at large.
Our focus is not solely on ships and steel, but on ideas and expression, on equipping participants at this bootcamp to tell the stories of our maritime, marine, and blue economy. The sector is not only a strategic domain, it is a vital pillar of our economy, interconnected with industries such as security, shipping, fisheries, oceanography, trade, tourism, oil and gas, energy, and port operations and logistics, to mention a few. When creative writing reflects these economic sectors, it does more than inspire. It educates the public, attracts investment, promotes trade, and strengthens Nigeria's position in the global community of maritime nations.
After the opening ceremony is the Bootcamp.
Writing is like when you are trying to build a house. What's the first thing you do when you're trying to build a house? What's the first thing you do? What do? You clear the portion. How do you get the portion?
Writing is a process which you can cultivate, you can learn, you can master.
In Nigeria today, we have major ports. In Lagos, I've mentioned Apapa Port Complex, Tinkan Island Port. We also have the Lekki Deep Sea Port. We have the Dangote. We also have in Warri, we have the Warri Port Complex. In Rivers State, we have the One Port and the Port Harcourt Port. In Calabar, we also have Calabar Port. Those are ports. However, we have some oil ports that deals only with oil. They are called oil terminals. That's where ships that carry crude oil comes to dock. So we have them like FPSO Agbami, we have FPSO Bonga, we have Boni Gas. But what we are discussing today is about exclusive economic zone.
My experience at Maritime Rights has been impactful, educating and exciting because of the many things I've been able to learn concerning the blue economy and how to preserve the blue economy at large and people involved in these things, even though their visibility hasn't been shown to the extent that most people will know about them, but this initiative has enlightened me on so many people that are out there on a daily basis. They make a difference to the blue economy and things that benefit us in the society at large.
There are so many writing processes I didn't know about before. When I want to write, I just pick up a pen, think of anything I write. Because now I've learned that there are many other things I need to do. There are so many processes that I need to use to perfect into writing, and I have learned that thanks to Maritime Rights.
I've discovered more about the Nigerian blue economy. I feel like this initiative, this project is a way for me to grow as a writer and also a way for me to use storytelling to create awareness.
It's been challenging but very exciting. Challenging in the sense that as a startup, NGO, we had to do things ourselves. But exciting in the sense that we've eventually gained ground and having warm reception in the industry. People are beginning to see the use for creative writing. People are beginning to understand that you can pick a novel and begin to see a captain, you can see a surveyor, you can see a marine engineer, a master mariner in as your character and not just the traditional lawyer, doctor, and all that.
The Maritime Rights Project continues to build Nigeria's maritime literacy as participants not only develop their writing skills, but also become ambassadors for Nigeria's vast maritime potential.
Maritime rights! Rights as law! Maritime rights! Rights as law!
It's an episode of reports, but all for good. Up next, a teenager all the way from Port Harcourt writes a book that is compelling. Enjoy this.
Woo!
The hall came alive as the book Periods, Parts, and Proud was unveiled. The book is not just about menstruation. It is ending stigma, promoting hygiene, and giving young girls the confidence to embrace a natural cycle of life with pride. The work is part of our Empower Her project, through which Elizabeth has been creating awareness about menstrual health, distributing and encouraging the use of reusable pads, especially for schoolgirls facing financial constraints in local communities.
I wanted to create something that was relatable for them, something that was honest and something that was confident. I wanted to create a tool for advocacy for them. I wanted to create a tool for education, and that's exactly what Periods, Pads, and Proud is.
The launch brought together medical professionals, academics, and secondary school girls eager to listen and learn.
Having been, part of a movement that has been distributing reusable pads across several communities, not only in Rivers State but in the Niger Delta, we know that the reusable pads are also environmentally friendly. They are biodegradable, so they protect the environment. And the beauty of it is that you can reuse it, and it's safe for up to 2 years or even more. And then the another thing is, it also, when you learn how to produce the reusable pad, you don't want to just use it, you can also make a fortune out of it by selling it to other people.
This book has given you a tool, has given you wings as a man, because now you'll be answering questions that nobody expected you to know. And if your wife isn't here, you get one up on her. Because now you know a little more than she does about the menstrual cycle.
One of the highlights was the review by Professor Kaladada Kurubo of Rivers State University, who emphasized that menstruation should be treated with dignity and respect, and that stigmatization must end.
She's not just saying things out of her head. She's giving you real life data that has been researched. And I thought that was wonderful. So this book gives empowerment to the child. This book is a book for advocacy because it speaks to the girl child. It speaks about the girl child for those who are not girl children. And this book goes a long way in helping to curb period poverty.
But perhaps the most striking voices came from the students in attendance. The secondary school girls who reviewed the book said they felt motivated and empowered by its message.
Statistics states that some girls miss 3 to 7 days of school monthly because of their period, which means by the end of the year, they lose nearly 2 months of learning. In some communities, menstruating girls are told they are unclean. Some are excluded from cooking, praying, or simply interacting with others. This silence is harmful.
This book is so important because it educates. It explains menstrual cycles step by step. It teaches hygiene practices, how to use and change pads, how to keep clean during periods.
Some of the attendees also shared their insights about the book.
I don't think it's proper and right when you have events like this and you focus on girl child. You understand? Meanwhile, the people who actually perpetrate the offense are the males. It's the boy in the school who laughs at his classmate that her dress is stained. It is the boy or the men in society who refuse their wives who are under that period to come into their rooms. So that the people who need education more than even the women, it's okay to tell the child what's more like telling her how it happened, the calculations and all of that. But the greater picture, it's how do we get the male demography to understand that they are not being fair. You're only creating an army of people who feel inferior. And of course, the trickle-down effect of that is that it's going to affect the bigger society at the end of the day. Have a major sector feeling inferior because of what naturally happens to them.
I'm very excited, and to know that my daughter did it, I really feel super proud of her, and that she's going to be impacting so many girls and teaching them, telling them before time. You know, sometimes the girls just wake up and just see their bed is stained or their clothes are stained, and they're not prepared. They've never had that conversation. But with this book, at least they'll know what to expect. And then the girls that have already started and don't really have honest answers to questions, they'll also learn and know the right thing to do.
This book is an excellent book, talking about periods, pads, and proud. It captures the essence of guidance and counseling, in that guidance is a mental idea and intellectual construct. From the intellectual construct of guidance, we have what we call appraisal, we have evaluation, we have information, we have orientation, planning, placement, and follow-up. And each and every single concept of this book follow the whole perimeters of these guidance principles in a school setting and in any setting at all, for the mothers, for the children, for adults, even for men. The book was well written using this guidance counseling principle.
The book represents not just guidance, but a tool that can transform how their generation views menstruation, less as a burden and more as a source of pride.
So much energy and talent when it comes to Nigerian teenagers. Let's have more of those. Before we round up on the show today, let's take a reading.
Hello, I'm Jumoke Oluwade. I'm a writer and a brand strategist, and I'm the author of Kamiye's Travels. So Kamiye's Travels is a children's book for children between 7 and 10, and it teaches about cultural and national identity, and also helps them understand and know about their history, their heritage, and their tradition. So it's to basically help them understand the past, the present, and how to relate with the future. So I'll be reading from a chapter in the book. Chapter 3 is about the old train yard. So I start. I remember the day my mom drove past the train station at Yaba on our way to Imbu, and all I did was appreciate its beauty, as the architectural design of the building took my breath away and stirred an urge for a train ride experience in me. So my mom told me that the train transportation system in Nigeria actually has a beautiful history, as it did not start out as glamorous as it is today. She told me about a private museum, Jekyll House, originally built in 1898 as the official residence of the general manager of the Railway Corporation. Then it became a rest house for senior staff of the Railway Corporation before it was finally named Jekyll House after Francis Jekyll, a former superintendent of the Nigerian Railway Corporation who came to Nigeria in 1938 and worked with the Nigerian Railway Corporation for 27 years. She told me that this private museum houses the history of the train transportation system in Nigeria, and boy was I eager to visit the place. So we fixed a day to visit the museum at Ebutebenta, and after missing a few turns on our way, we eventually arrived at the museum. The serenity of the place was so relaxing against the fast-paced Lagos lifestyle. Then we parked and headed to the reception, where we met the manager of the facility, who told us that the conductor of the facility was not on ground to give us a tour of the museum, but they gladly offered to give us the tour. Then we journeyed back in time once again. So we have pictures here of the train, of the whole train equipment they used back in the day, up to the ones that were imported like 100 years ago. And that is what this chapter is basically about. So once again, I'm the author of Kamiye's Travels, a children's book for children between 7 and 10. And if you want them to understand their national identity, their cultural identity, their history, heritage and tradition, Kamiye's Travels is just for them. Thank you.
And this is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.